Question is, what is your earliest memory of wanting to be naked?
It started when I was a child. When I was a baby, that's my mother used to tell me. I never used to like to wear a nappy, wear a diaper. I used to run around like I was Tarzan. But since then, when I got to about 5 or 6 years old, I used to stay at my grandmother's holiday home in the Worcestershire countryside, and I used to go for regular long walks through the scenery, like through Stourport and Bewdley, and I just used to run off into the woods and into the fields, and it just felt like the most natural thing to do. I felt more connected to the earth. But obviously, you don't understand those things until you get older and you realise more. It really awakens yourself, and I just kept on continuing ever since. The most natural thing to do. And as I got older, the more determined I was to not wear clothes again.
So the second question is, would you like to give a brief overview of your experience as a naturist?
To me, being a naturist, it connects me spiritually, and it's good for the well-being, and it certainly helps with stress. And because the human body wasn't designed not to wear clothes, and it wasn't constructed that way. And it's the freedom, it's the liberation as well. And obviously, it saves on the laundry. I'll spend most of my time wearing no clothes, and it feels strange. It's like sometimes I get to walk outside the door, and I realise, I'm not dressed. So used to it, I feel dressed when I'm in my natural state. When I'm dressed, I feel so uncomfortable.
So I'll go on to the third question now. So, was there a defining moment when you realised you were a naturist, or has it always been that way?
At first, I never really knew what the term naturist was or nudist. I just thought it was just being my natural self.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't until I got to my teenage years, and then I started to understand more what the word naturist was.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, I'm already a naturist. But I never knew what the label meant. And I think it was when I started having interviews as well, like later on, like when I started publishing my own work.
Yeah.
And then they was asking me questions like, so how long have you been a naturist for? And then it suddenly dawned on me, and more.
Mm.
And it still baffles me. Like, I don't like to class myself. I rather class myself as if I had to class myself as a nudist or a naturist. I think it would be a naturist, because I think you're more in touch with the environment. Whereas a nudist, the word nudist, I think it derives from America. And nudist can be I don't know, it's probably their terminology of using, but I think naturist is more in touch with the earth and the environment on a spiritual basis as well.
Yeah.
And I think also with other people, it's having conditions as well, either by the parents or by media.
Definitely.
And all these, it's like some countries, some third world countries where the education system isn't as strong.
Yeah.
They automatically think, nudity, sex.
Yes,
nudity,
definitely.
Always sex. And they need to, I think if there's more education in the curriculum, or some kind of elements within the social studies course, I think people will be more understanding. Some organisations have it's a certain age group. It's always old laws, old routines, and old rules, and so on.
Definitely.
And I think they need a modern approach. They need a modern approach of modern voices instead of so much of the old voices. Just to move things along. Do you know what I mean?
So what are the pros and cons of this lifestyle?
The cons of the lifestyle. You can automatically get judged. For instance, an example, it's like the laws in the UK, public nudity, it's only offensive to cause harm or distress to anyone. It's like a double-edged sword. For instance, I could be sunbathing away from public view, and if somebody just automatically comes along and harasses me, or says a few negative words to me, and automatically it's me that's classed as the one that's causing the harm. And really it's them that's causing the harm, because I'm keeping myself to myself, away from the public view, and I'm the one that's being respectful. I've had an incident that's happened like that before. I was initially arrested. I went on a charity walk for cancer research on the Shropshire Hills, and I just they enjoyed it. It didn't offend them in any way. And cars were going past and beeping the horns, and the support was fantastic. And it wasn't until it was in the newspaper about this event that the local police came across it, and they began to question me to see if they can gain some kind of criminal scoring points. Yes. So it does need to be changed, and I think there needs to be some kind of legislation. Another part I don't like is the restriction, designated areas. Like, we see the signs on beaches, nudity is permitted behind this point, and etc. And I was thinking the other month, I said, what about if the closed community had that done for them? Clothes are permitted through this area, etc. And they need to see how we feel. They need to, and on a psychological basis too, they need to feel what it's like and see what it's like. And I think there should be more openness and less restrictions. Because restrictions, there's restrictions in so many things. There's so much controlling in today's world, and whether it's lifestyle or it used to happen happened in America, didn't it? Like whites only, blacks not allowed, and these kind of movements. And Lord, it's stupid. It's like a vicious circle of events, isn't it?
And what are the pros?
The pros is good for the mind and confidence, and it's so wonderful for the confidence, because it's such a wonderful feeling to embrace your body. And I went through a short phase when I was a teenager because I used to believe what magazines had to say, because it's like an old form of conditioning, isn't it? It's like all I'm bothered about is just making the profit. They don't care about the individual, do they? For instance, I was reading, for example, this Muscle and Fitness magazine, and they make it look like that every male should have a six-pack, they should look like this and look like that, have a fake tan, and all that. And I started to believe it, so I started to exercise, and I was exercising 6 days a week, and I felt more uncomfortable when I was involved with fitness. So it made me feel more negative at that brief moment. And then one day I just woke up, I just thought to myself, I want to be myself more. So I just looked into the mirror, and I was writing at the same time too, and the writing helped. And it helped me realise that what I wanted inside myself, and it was like I was suffocating when I was going through that phase. But for most of my life I've always been confident. But at that brief moment, I had a lack of confidence from those magazines. But it certainly helps me to this day because certain posts that I make for social media or advice to other people, I have helped people through what I've learned as well. It's quite rewarding that listens to you, and their life changes to a positive way. And it certainly clears the mind. Being a naturist, it certainly gives you a clear outlook. It gives you a clear outlook. It gives you a clear outlook of the world, I think, more so as well. And also, it's good for the body, the vitamin D from the sun. And it certainly makes you feel more comfortable. And also when you're in a group of other naturists, and the social atmosphere, there's no negativity whatsoever. It's so relaxing, it's so comfortable. There's no jealousy, there's no judgment, and everybody is just the same person, because there's nothing artificial that's around in that environment. It's like back to the beginning. All this outside world of conditioning ever happened. It's just like nothing else matters, just being you, finding the inner you, and being in touch with yourself.
So question number 5 is, what is your opinion on clothing?
I went through a phase of fashion at one time, but it was the same kind of thing. It was advertised around me all the time. It was when I was studying at college, and on the same floor as the course I was doing, it was like the fashion around me. And I think it was always pushed into my face all the time. And so I automatically fell into it. And I absolutely hate it. All my clothes, I hardly wear them. When I go outside, I just wear a pair of shorts. And, for example, earlier I went to the store for about 5 minutes. And I just pull a pair of shorts on and a t-shirt, and that was it. But it's very frustrating. It's like even just to take the garbage outside at the side of the main door, I have to get dressed to do that. And it's like my mind tells me different, but the society tells me something else. It does need to change. I think boundaries need to be pushed a bit more. More strength in numbers, and just one voice, but with strength in numbers can go a long way. I still think, and every human person is a naturist. So this label, this person, it's like with a food brand, isn't it?
Bit further along and ask you about what your opinions are on the clothing industry.
I think it's a vicious, selfish industry. I think it's only just aimed at profiting. I don't think it's aimed. I think there's a lot of false advertising involved with it, and especially teenage girls, and but it can also affect males too. But I know that I know of relatives of mine, females, and even my partner, it's affected her before. Still does at times, but it's so horrible. It's like every female should be a size 0. Every female should be skinny. Every female, or every male should have 6 packs and all this fake tan and having these certain lips to pose and all these Kylie Jenner and these Kardashians and it doesn't help. I think the media really. It's such a warped environment, and but I noticed there's a movie called The Body Image or Body Image Movement. I think it's called. I think there should be more. I think it should be. I think the reality should be out there more. I notice so many people are overtook by lies in today's world. It's like if you're truthful, if you're honest, it doesn't get acknowledged as much. So if it's something that's a lie, then that automatically gets the attention. There's money and corruption involved in it, isn't there? And it's so wrong.
I'm going to move on to the next question. So do you feel that the art of being naked is something you possess or you must learn and feel and become more comfortable with?
I think with how society has been and from the day we're born, and I think we are a work of art. Every one of us is a work of art, and I think it is something that you obviously you learn over time more, because obviously you get in touch with reality more as you progress with life, with the stages in life, and so I think that's true, definitely, that you learn to become more comfortable with as time goes on, because especially how the world keeps revolving around all these different conditions, and I think the majority of society needs to learn and realise that. There's minorities that do, but the majority doesn't. Artwork on Facebook, for example, how it's censored and how it's blurred, it destroys the work, and that work was created say a few hundred years ago, and it's like a different life now, isn't it? In this modern living with this technology as well, and but I believe if the technology can make all that happen into those negative environments, it can also do it into a positivity outlook.
So we're going to change the topic now, because another element of the performance is on the dreamlike state. Just because, I don't know, we find it interesting that being nude is more positive in dreams than it is into reality. So we're just going to ask...
I agree.
Yeah.
I do. I agree with that. And I think the subconscious is healthier too. It's more positive. And my dreams, more so now, I always dream with the sunshine and fields and all the countryside and wildlife and all the wilderness, all those different aspects. And it's so blissful. And then I wake up And I think to myself, oh, I'm in an artificial world, environment.
Sorry, so what are your opinions on dreams?
I'm quite visual in my dreams, actually. Because obviously, like with the work I do, with the writing, I'm always thinking and I'm always imagining. For example, when I was writing strip verses, it's about the subject of naturism and body positivity and confidence and escaping and finding who you are. And some of those elements within the book come from my dreams. And come from what I've done as well, like in day-to-day life. And I think naturism, it does help with your dreams. If I was in an environment where, for example, when I stayed at my auntie's house and I was restricted on being myself, then that would affect my dreams.
Yeah.
Because your dreams are affected from everything that's been happening around you, and all these certain elements, it contributes, doesn't it? And naturism certainly helps with positive dreams. And when I have dreams, it's like I go on a short holiday, and it's fantastic.
Have you ever been discriminated towards because of your beliefs or because you practice naturism?
I have, yes. A few times, actually. One time, I wanted to organise a naturist reading group at the local library. It was fantastic. I was very polite. The library staff was really extremely polite. And then one of the councillors, one of the local councillors, disagreed with it. Automatically made judgment. Didn't even know me as a person. Didn't understand naturism. Just automatically made the judgment, and yet this person had a professional role, which seemed a bit baffling. And it was in the newspapers a couple of times. They slammed me for being a naturist, basically saying I was basically a freak and it's just weird. And so I followed up with another response to the newspaper in more detail, in depth, and. That's the thing with much humanity. They always like a reaction, they always like to place a judgment. And I know clothes people that wear clothes, we naturists call them textiles. And they judge each other by either what makeup they wear, by how their hair is, by what clothes they're wearing, by what jeans they're wearing, etc. And it's just very fascinating. There's so much respect in naturism, and it's extremely good for you. It's good for the mind, good for the body. It's good for your whole life in general, for the future. And I know that people that just experience naturism just right now, they wish they would have done it a long time ago. Find themselves completely, and I love it. I would never change my life. I love being nude. But I never think of myself as nude when I am nude. It's like I'm nude right now, and I just think myself. I'm dressed with myself. I'm dressed with me. I'm completely dressed as me. I'm not dressed by anything artificial, anything negative. I'm just me being me, the positive me, and I know my inner self. I've found my inner peace, my inner self, and. It certainly builds yourself up as well. Kind of like, example, just like a tree. A tree starts off as a seed, that innocent natural seed, and it grows up and blooms and shines. And it's a happy tree forever. And it's like, and all the branches that come from this tree, then all the different thoughts and all the different emotions. And just say, for instance, if a tree gets damaged by a human, it takes a while to repair, and it's wounded. And but if it's left being the tree itself in its natural state, it thrives forever. And I think that's the same with humans. People don't walk up to animals and say, "Oh my, you're naked. Oh my, you're nude." They're just another species, just like us. But they are in their natural state every day. And it does fascinate me, it does. Oh, you're naked. Oh, you should cover up. Just imagine if, just say, many people from walks of life, from different religions and backgrounds, if I was all put into one room, take off all their clothes, what would they have to say to each other.
I'm just gonna conclude the session and just ask you a final question. What would you say to persuade someone to think about being a naturist?
There's a lot of things I could say, but I think I'll keep it short and simple and powerful. I probably would say, you haven't found yourself yet until you've found the real you. And the real you is the natural you. How was you born in the world? How would you like to go for life in the world? Now, if you had to know you, and to know you, you have to go back to the beginning.
Have you got any lasting words or anything else you'd like to say or conclude with, or?
I can't think of anything at the moment.
Thank you very, very much for conducting this interview with me. I really appreciate it. Did you?
Keep in touch.
I definitely will do. And if you can send me a copy of your book, I'll pay for it. It'll be brilliant. And I'd just like to thank you on behalf of all the other members of the performance group as well, as they really appreciate.
Thank you for asking me. It's been a real pleasure.
It's been a pleasure too. Thank you very, very much.